Although there have been dozens of ancient civilizations on the planet, ancient Egypt has always been considered a symbol of them. Its monumental achievements, pyramids, enigmatic obelisks, and amazing scientific discoveries are not just impressive, they have inspired and continue to inspire people thousands of years later. Some Egyptian knowledge, including stoneworking, developed as far back as 9,000 years ago. Today we will try to tell you about the history of Egypt in 5 minutes. Although it is not easy, we will try to make this series interesting and informative. I hope your likes and comments will help us to create videos of this format in the future. Sit back and we will begin. Let's start with the most ancient times. Africa was different then. Once dense tropical forests stretched here, where human civilization was born. Over time, Africa, including Egypt, became more arid, and some of the land became savanna. It was here, on the banks of the Nile, in this gift of the gods, that Egyptian civilization was born. Those ancient people may have migrated here from East Africa, attracted by the incredible fertility of the land irrigated by the Nile. Each year, the mighty river overflowed, covering fields with fertile silt, allowing crops to grow and supporting large settlements. Not surprisingly, the Nile became a central figure in Egyptian mythology and the source of their prosperity. Hundreds of small towns and settlements sprang up on both sides of the river. Gradually, because of the need to irrigate large areas and regulate water resources, people began to unite, and about 5,000 years ago, these settlements formed 2 large kingdoms, Upper and Lower Egypt. The struggle for dominance ended with the victory of Upper Egypt, and the ruler Pharaoh Nama united the 2 parts of the country, which became the starting point of a long history of dynasties. From this time, Egypt becomes the ancient Egypt we know of, the land of pharaohs, pyramids and obelisks, great temples and mythology. For convenience, historians divide this period into several kingdoms: the early, ancient, middle and new kingdoms, as well as the intervening periods of chaos. However, rather than focusing on dates, let's look at the major achievements and greatest mysteries of this period. The Old Kingdom is the time of the Great Pyramids. These structures, as scientists have recently discovered, were built using not only human strength and ingenuity, but also unusual knowledge in geometry, astronomy, and even metallurgy. One myth says that the pyramids radiated mystical power, and modern researchers have found traces of a weak electromagnetic field around some of the structures, further fueling interest in studying them. The Middle Kingdom marked the heyday of Egyptian engineering. During this period, pharaohs actively developed water systems, artificial lakes and reservoirs, some of which were used until modern times. Under the leadership of the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty, the country reached economic prosperity, building not only pyramids and temples, but also creating educational institutions that taught young Egyptians writing and sciences. The New Kingdom is a time of military campaigns, cultural exchange, and incredible wealth. This is the era of Thutmose III, Ramses II, and the famous Queen Nefertiti. Egypt reached the peak of its military and cultural power. During this period, the Egyptians were in active contact with other peoples, which allowed them to develop culture and trade. Myths about the magic and rituals of the pharaohs of this time persist to this day, and recent studies of some tombs show that there may have been knowledge that was later passed on to other peoples. The country changed as it moved into the period of conquest, when Egypt was invaded by the Persians and then the Greeks. With the arrival of Alexander the Great in 332 BC, Egyptian culture began to slowly assimilate with Greek culture, and Alexandria itself became the most important cultural center of the ancient world. Egypt went from being the center of the world to an important point of international trade and science. After the death of Cleopatra in 30 BC, Egypt became part of the Roman Empire. The Romans adopted many Egyptian rituals, and their way of government was also inspired by Egyptian customs. This period, however, was marked by a slow decline. The Library of Alexandria was looted, and the great secrets of the ancients were lost. With the arrival of the Arabs in the 7th century, Egypt was gradually integrated into the Islamic world. The country adopted Islam and Arab culture, which dramatically changed its appearance. Gradually, Egypt became what we know today, but the mysteries and myths of ancient Egypt still beckon us, and scientists are still finding new artifacts under the sands that testify to the great achievements of this civilization. If you enjoyed our tour of Egyptian history, don't forget to leave your likes and comments. Your comments help us make our content even better and more interesting.